Going to actually work on the 442 today. This piece is welded in here, got it out, have it off on both sides, and I cleaned up these mounting points really good. We're going to weld this job in yet. This piece was part of the old one that was in there. But before we weld it in, it makes sense to get this whole area totally cleaned up. And I don't know if you recall, but there's a bunch of tar in here. And there's still remnants of it in there. It was like bedline or undercoating, or I don't even know what you'd call it. Now I'm going to go over it with a fine-tooth comb and get it all out. There's some back there yet. Some down there. I'm going to get this trunk completely done and then primer before we weld that piece in. Because it's a lot easier to crawl in or like this versus when she's welded back in. So I'm chipping away at these pieces, getting them good and clean. I get to this one. And here they got that foam sprayed underneath it. They had so much tar over it you could hardly even see that piece. I think they're just trying to make it look like a bump. There's a little surface rust under that. I'll probably spray it with some rust reformer. Along with like this wheel well area. It's going to take me quite a while to get this trunk cleaned up. Probably several sessions the way I want it. If you recall, something was mounted there, an amp. I welded up those holes. But I found another hole right there. There's 4 more down there where that tube was. I'm going to take the time right now to weld them up. These are plugged good, but you can kind of see where they were welded. I might even take a skim coat of Bondo over those. These top 2 turned out good enough. They don't even need any Bondo. Maybe just a smidgen on the bottom. That one over there is probably good. A smidgen on a couple of those. I sanded them out better. I'll knock that down quick with the DA. I think while it's drying, I'm going to start working on this mess here. This corner has to be rebuilt before that piece is welded in. It'll look something like this. This here is actually solid enough. I'm not going to do nothing with it. This piece here is hanging on by a thread. I'm going to cut this rusted metal back a little bit. And I think I'll come up this way a ways and cut it on the inside here. So I'm going to make my seam come across. I'll worry about the rest of this later. Just want to get that piece in for now. Knocked 95% of that Bondo off there. Pretty happy with how it turned out. You can't tell at all that there are holes there. This here is actually a dimple from a factory weld, so I left that. And same with the back there. I hacked out a rusty piece here, and I marked where the clip went for the trim. And it's kind of strange how it's rusted. It's like real localized rust. This metal's actually thick all around this. It just rusted through right there. So I'm going to have to hack some more away here. And then I'm just going to hack the equivalent piece out of this and weld it in. After this piece is in, I'm going to cut the rest of this out and replace it. Because there's a hole there, there's damage there. I don't want to do it all at once, so I don't want this piece to drop in. That's all the more I'm going to cut out of it. I'm going to try to piece this back together and I'll just strengthen this up. We'll fit that piece in with it. That rust reformulator turned all that stuff black. Just spent about an hour just cleaning this wheel well. I'm going to give you guys a rare look from inside the cutlass. You can actually see all the way up to the door jamb up there. But there's a bunch of fuzzy rust up here. I'm working on cleaning it off. And I'm going to rust reformer all this as far as I can reach. This side of the car is actually in really good shape. Little to no rust. It's really neck bending work. I can only take it in small doses. Inside the cab here, I just knocked down all the high spots from those spot weld cuts. And there's some holes in here. I think they had some electrical screwed on there or something if I remember right. But I think I'm going to weld all these up and knock them down flat. Working towards getting that piece welded in. I'm going to do this before I spray all that rust reformer. That stuff really stinks. Probably tough to tell in this light, but got all the compromised metal fixed. That area may not look the best, but it's going to be covered with this here, so it doesn't really matter. And we got that side all cleaned up and some primer. No rust whatsoever to fix. I'm thinking that's what the original spatter paint texture looked like. Taking a shot of that just to get something to match it up to. Here's a shot up in here. Got as much of that fuzzy rust off as I could. I went up in there with a yardstick with some sandpaper on then to knock it off. Treated it with some rust neutralizer. I think the key to preserving these cars is keeping them in a nice environment. I mean, if you're driving them through winter or leaving them outside in the rain, they're going to rust. And most cars are going to have rust way up in that area there. You just don't see it.
Here we go again, hitting two hammers together. Probably won't be happy till a chunk of sharp metal hits me in the cheek. But I got my glasses on and should have headphones on, but we're trying to get, this was all damaged and wrinkly, and we just want everything to look like bone stock, like this car was never used.
We got a couple areas in the trunk pan that have pinholes, like here, and here, there. I'm gonna try to solder them, but first we're gonna see if we can hammer and dolly some of these dingers out of the pan. The pan's in pretty good shape except for these two spots with a couple pinholes.
We spent tons of time just getting this area out. And then when we took the taillights out and you can see all this, I mean, trying to get your hands back here and clean all this undercoating out, and it was the kind that was a petroleum product, and we're smearing around with a bunch of lacquer thinner and stuff. It's been a lot of work just to get it to this point. But now we want to have it where it's all painted and it'll look nice.
We got all our dingers knocked out the best as we can. There's bracing in here, so you can't get it all the spots, but we got it pretty good. And we did a total of 4 pinholes, so I just soldered them up. And you can't really tell where they were. We had a light underneath there. I cleaned all the flux off really good with a lacquer thinner rag. I think that's all the more we're going to do to it.
Oh, that was a lot of work, man. My back is killing me. Just from grinding this all off. We should have a dustless blaster. Could have just sprayed that.
Finally got this trunk into some primer. This trunk was wire wheeled, DA'd, sandpaper rolled, roll locked, you name it. Got the majority of it down to bare metal. It was quite a job getting all that tar out of there. Have to do some more cleanup to it, but I'm pretty satisfied with it for now. We'll get back on doing this metal work. The next video will be getting this piece in. I don't know if you can see it in camera, but that rust hole there ended up being all that. None of that would have happened if that troffer kept clean where that wheel well meets the quarter. There was a bunch of crap in there I cleaned out. But we're going to put this package tray in first. Then we're going to work on all the rust on the passenger side, which is the C-pillar, that, and there's a little bit down there inside that trunk drop area at the bottom of the quarter. It's all in the 442 for now. Thanks for watching.